Day number 7, my friends. Almost done the vegan challenge. I did say in the beginning I was gonna go into breakfast tomorrow because I start at lunch, so I wanna complete the full 7 days. But we are almost there. Today's gonna be a sort of like a smorgasbord of food. I'm just gonna use up all my leftovers and see what I can do. Just took a glorious walk in Prospect Park. So fantastic. Another sunrise walk. Highly suggest anyone that lives in a city, which I'm sure a lot of you do, get to some nature. Get that nature in your life. It's like a daily dose of medicine. I feel so much better if I can walk in the morning. Just wake up, find your park, and get it in. Your day is gonna be better. But today's gonna be a cool one because I actually fermented some rice. I had some leftover rice, and if you guys have ever seen those big dosa Indian pancakes, that's how they make it. They ferment rice and lentils. They'll leave it out for a day. I just soaked mine in water. I didn't have lentils, so we'll see if rice works. I've looked some things up on the internet, and I think it should work, but I'm gonna use that, and I'm probably gonna make a stew with just everything I have left. Last night was very interesting. Because Dan came over yesterday and cooked me the most insane meal, I kind of paid for it a little bit since he also had half of the portion. That would have been my dinner. But last night for dinner, I didn't really make anything. I was kind of just picking at my food. So I ate all my chocolate and just a few random things. It was a little weird. Pretty hungry right now. I think I'm gonna go make an oatmeal with the last of my oats and get on with day number 7. The food on day number 7 was pretty interesting considering I didn't really have that much left. I didn't have that much to work with, so it was really just about getting rid of everything. So the decisions weren't that hard. I started off breakfast with a little bit of oatmeal. I couldn't really get that creative on this breakfast considering I didn't have much to work with. I dumped in the rest of my almond milk, dumped in the rest of my oats. There you go, oatmeal right there. I did add some grated apple, my only sugar source for this entire series. That was it for my fruit. I was done. I'm done with sugar for the entire series. Grated the apple in just to give it a little bit of extra flavor. Hit it with just a tiny bit of salt to bring everything out and cook that down. Those aren't quick cooking oats, so you do have to cook them a little bit, but I prefer that. I really like the texture. You cook them down and you got a beautiful oatmeal. It was actually a pretty hefty amount of oatmeal, which is fantastic because I needed a breakfast for tomorrow to really complete the challenge, which I started at lunch. So that should just carry over. I only ate about half of it. And then I moved on to lunch. I was telling you about that fermented rice. I wanted to make a delicious dosa out of it. And I had looked up a few recipes and there actually were just rice dosas. They weren't traditional, but there were recipes out there. So I knew it was possible. That's all I needed. Before I got into the dosa part, I wanted to make some sort of veggie stew. I had all of these vegetables left and I knew it would be the perfect way to just get rid of everything. It was quick, it was easy. So I basically just diced everything up. I had one large Tupperware of all my leftover vegetables, which was great for the whole week because I could just look at it, take something out, chop it right up, use a piece, throw it back in there. It was a really good way to sort of organize what I had. But this time everything had to go. It was all getting chopped up. So I gave it a rough chop. And then I basically put in some oil into a pan, heated it up, and just started sauteing the crap out of it. And the one thing that was tricky about this entire challenge was I didn't really have a spice mix. I probably could have got one, but it was great that, I didn't because normally I have these curry powders around or curry paste, just things with a lot of flavor, almost like cheat codes for cooking. You add that to any dish, any vegetable, any meat, it's gonna be delicious. This week I didn't have that, so I had to creatively kind of work around those things, which was nice. So this time what I did was I actually took some coconut cream. I had just about that much left in the can. I threw that in there and then I took my ramen stock and I just started squirting that in there. And instead of creating like a curry liquid that I normally would make, I really just cooked everything down. I cooked it down for a while, maybe 10 minutes until all of those flavors really absorbed, so it was a nice thick stew that I could spoon on top of my dosa. Delicious. I started just scarfing that down right away, but that turned out very well. I'm moving on to the dosa side of this recipe. For the dosa, I actually just took the rice, I threw it in the blender first with no water, and I started blending that. It blended pretty well at first because it was soaked in water, but then I just slowly started incorporating the water and just cranked the blender. And that created this really great thin white pancake mix. And that's actually what I saw online. You want it very thin. Mine was actually probably a little thicker than I saw the recipes online. They were basically saying it's almost like water, like just a little thicker than water. This was a little thinner than pancake batter, but it looked great and it smelled great from that fermentation of the rice. I got a pan on very, very hot. That was important. I saw that as well. You basically start pouring the pancake in and then swirling it around, and instantly you see all these bubbles forming. So I knew I was doing something right because I actually saw that happen when I looked at the recipes online. Then I let that cook and get crispy on the one side. Since it's rice and rice tends to get pretty crispy if you let it sit, I let it sit there for a while. Then I flipped that over and cooked it for another few minutes. And I wasn't extremely happy with the initial thickness. So what I did was I took that off and ate the shit out of it. It was actually extremely delicious. I really wanted to try to get a thinner pancake, so I just tried it out one more time and it worked great. The second time was even better. But the flavor on these things were great. I was just eating it straight up. And the great thing is I have more of that batter left over, and I have a little bit more of the vegetable mixture, so that will be lunch and that will be dinner as well, and that will complete the challenge. I'll eat the oatmeal tomorrow. And yeah, basically I'm out of food. I have a little bit of flour left, soy sauce, 2 packets of yeast, some brown rice noodles, and a tiny bit of rice, but everything else is gone. Yes, everything is eliminated. It was actually a perfect amount of food. The hardest thing was definitely not having fruit. I talked about that before. I only could afford a few pieces of fruit, which is definitely different from my normal diet. Usually I get a lot of stuff and I'm eating it all the time. I'm snacking on it. But it was a nice change. I really had to concentrate on cooking. Fruit is simple. You just grab it, you eat it, and that's it. So I had to concentrate a lot on, okay, what can I make to satisfy my cravings? But overall, this challenge was amazing. It really was great. It was tricky. It was definitely hard for me to film the whole thing first. I mean, it's tough when you're filming a lot of your meals. I didn't film everything. There were some meals that I was like, screw it, I'm not filming. I can't do it anymore. So those were just personal things, but it's tough. A week straight of filming is a lot, but in general, it was awesome. I'm really excited with the way it turned out. I hope that, it maybe changed the way you guys see vegan food or just eating in general. I think the biggest thing with these types of diets, well, I say diet, but diet is a weird word because these are more life changes. These things really change your life, but slowly change your life. So the biggest thing, like Dan was talking about earlier, is see what works for you. Start maybe making a few of these meals, maybe replacing some of that meat with more vegetables, getting creative with it, and see how that affects your mood, affects your energy levels, and just go from there. Start slowly and build your way up. These things are long-term changes. I know for me, it's taken a while. This journey, I've been cooking like this for a while, but I'm still growing every single day. I probably started really focusing on what I ate maybe 3 years ago, and it is a constant battle, but I know it has changed my life for the better. And this week, honestly, I felt very good. To tell you the truth, looking back, well, this morning I came out of a workout and I was like, damn, I worked out every single day today, and normally every single day this week, and normally that is a little tricky for me. I don't always work out because sometimes I'm sore, sometimes I'm tired, and it was surprising. On $50 of food, I went every day and I had great energy and it was awesome. So I really hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know what you think. Let me know what else you would like to do. These challenges are great. I told you this one was inspired by Josh, and he really changed the game with that challenge because Challenges are awesome. They push you, and that is a big part of life, is being pushed. You know, it's really easy for us to kind of just have ideas and do one-off YouTube videos for you guys and make super entertaining content, and sometimes that is fun, but to really focus on nailing something like this and taking time to really nail down a challenge and to push yourself is really cool, and it's great. So let us know what you want to see next, maybe some more challenges in the future. See you guys later, and I hope you enjoyed. Spread the word.